Another night, another preview. It's that kind of week. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory 2021 preview. And not gonna lie, this is going to be a little bit of a lackluster preview for a bunch of reasons. I haven't caught Impact the last couple of weeks. I've caught highlights here and there. I've sort of got an idea of what's going on, and I'm recording this before this week's episode of Impact. So you're going to get this Friday morning, assuming that I did this late Thursday night. I'm actually, because of the way my week is going, I'm actually recording this on Wednesday. So there's some stuff on here as I'm looking at the Wikipedia, which is what I'm going off of. I'm not going to lie. There's some stuff that's still like to be determined, or stuff that's like, oh, it's going to be this person or this person. I'm only going to give you my best guesses. I'm only going to give you what I would like to see, what matches I would like to see, what people I would like to see in matches, etc., etc. But yeah, here we go. The Bound for Glory going down this Saturday, I believe, in Las Vegas. I think it's the first time they've been out of whatever the facility is that they record in Nashville. I should know the names of this shit. It's not like the CWC or the Performance Center or something like that. It's just wherever they perform in Nashville, where they get like 2 rows of very, very planted and directed fans, let's be real. But it's Bound for Glory, and I hope they have a bigger crowd. When they said at Victory Road, I think it was Victory Road, it was going to be the first show back with fans. For some reason, I thought that meant they were going to a bigger venue. They were going to get at least an NXT level of fans, and it wasn't. They just moved in, like, some people around that staging area that they've got. I hope they've got a bigger crowd. I'm not familiar with the venue that they're in. I don't even know what venue they're in. It is the Sunrise Manor in Nevada, as I cheat and look up the Wikipedia page. But it is what it is. It's their WrestleMania, so let's get into it. The only thing listed for the pre-show is the tournament final intergender 6-way for the inaugural Impact Digital Media Championship. Now that's a mouthful, isn't it? I wasn't watching when this was announced. Apparently this is an intentionally dual-gendered, defended anywhere type of title. It's meant to be seen as their mid-card title. They've gone as far as to say it's their equivalent of like a US or a TV title. They didn't say Intercontinental title because I don't think they wanted to lean to WWE specifically, but I guess it makes sense. I mean, they do have Zack Ryder there, who did have the Internet Championship, so it's not that far off. But what we've got John Skyler, who I have really no opinion of whatsoever, Crazy Steve, Falaba, Jordan Grace, Chelsea Green, and Tennille Dashwood. Now, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I do like that they do genuine intergender wrestling in Impact. And it's not forced comedy, and it's not let's just make the dudes look bad like the Ellsworth stuff and some of the Reggie stuff, and it's actual proper intergender wrestling. I don't know why I'm fumbling over my words here. This is the one thing that they've got. It's one of the things that they've got over AEW, over NXT, over WWE, is that they do the genuine intergender wrestling. Now, John Skyler, I don't know anything about, realistically. I know I've seen him on my TV screen, but nothing other than that is registered. Falaba is just a great, funny guy to watch. Chelsea Green, as much as this is going to make me sound like an asshole, she's a great other body in the ring. Tennille Dashwood should be in that title picture, maybe instead of somebody else. We'll get to that later. And Jordan Grace is awesome. Jordan Grace, I think, should probably be the next person that they give the Tessa Blanchard push to. If they are going to do the, hey, let's throw our world title on a female competitor thing again, do it with Jordan Grace, man. Like, that'd be really cool. I know she got her hands on, or at least touched on, the X Division title at one point, and then either lost it quickly or it was reversed or whatever the case may be, but do that with her. My biases, honestly, lead towards Crazy Steve, just because I love Decay, and that's not going to be the last time you hear me say that in this video. I love Decay. Put it on Crazy Steve. It's a lot of fun. I mean, you can say the same thing for Falaba. Falaba is, he's in sort of like that makeshift trio with TJP and No Way, Don't Call Him Jose. So they could have some fun just with that I'm going to be a bit selfish, though. Even though I would say Crazy Steve, I want to say Jordan Grace, because Jordan Grace is going to go on next weekend to a show that I'm going to be at, which is hosted by Destiny, and I can't think of the name of the show right now. So I'm going to cheat. Again, I'm going to look at my phone, because that's what we do. It's that kind of night. This is probably going to go out without any actual audio, so you're not going to just see me looking at my phone. So, yeah, Destiny Raising Hell is the name of the show that I'm going to next week, and it's Jordan Grace versus somebody that I have never seen. Jordan Grace, who I've never seen in person, and somebody who I've never seen, period, point blank, end of story, is Lou Fisto. So really, really interested, reaching out to you guys as I do. If you guys have any knowledge or thoughts on female wrestler by the name of Lou Fisto, please put it down in the box below. Let me know what I can look forward to next weekend, and obviously Jordan Grace is fucking awesome. So I'm going to go, because they're doing this whole intergender, intentionally intergender title thing, I'm going to make two picks, because it's my video and I can do that. Crazy Steve or Jordan Grace are going to take this, and it's going to be on the kickoff, which is a little unfortunate, because you're introducing a brand new championship. It should be on the card, but hey, what do I know? You've got, for the Impact Tag Team Championships, the Good Brothers, I guess, sort of representing AEW. Is that the thing? Versus, on here, on Wikipedia, it says they're either taking on Finn Juice or the Bullet Club. I don't get much from Finn Juice, I'm not gonna lie. They're a fun enough team to watch. They're very, very competent in the ring. They're very entertaining in the ring. I don't care, though. Like, I just don't. Whereas Chris Bay caught my attention when I first started watching AEW again, or sorry, when I first started watching Impact again. They put him in the Bullet Club, which teamed him up with Hikuleo, who's just a big, massive fucker who's gonna get in there and wreck some shit. Now, I'm gonna say that the Good Brothers, again, me not watching ROH, not watching New Japan, not watching anything like that, not having much background on the Bullet Club as far as my own personal fandom. The Good Brothers used to be in the Bullet Club, did they not? Is there a better story to tell there? You guys tell me. But as far as a match, I hope it's Chris Bay and Hikuleo, or I hope that they just do the, oh, it was a schmoz finish and it turns into a triple threat match. Either way, I'm going to go with the Bullet Club on this one. I mean, Good Brothers are virtually AEW superstars. Now let them go for the tag titles on the other show. I think that's good. I think you get like the Good Brothers versus the Lucha Brothers. That's a thing that happened. I was about to say the Lucha Brothers lost their title, but they lost their AAA titles to the Super Frogs, aka FTR. It gets a little bit messy when you got these titles and those titles and those titles, and you've got FTR dressed up in their froggy pajamas, and oh, it's so much better than how they were treated in WWE, though, isn't it? Yeah, they're the Super Frogs. But yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and not go with the guys that I'm most familiar with. I'm going to go with the Bullet Club. I'm going to go with Chris Bay, Hikuleo, just because it's more interesting to me. Next up, we've got the returning Heath, don't call him Slater, teaming with Rhino, if Rhino shows up, to take on Violent by Design. They're intentionally not telling us what combination of Violent by Design it's going to be. It's going to be Eric Young, Diener, or Joe Doring, or Diener and Joe Doring, or Eric Young and Joe Doring. I mean, Heath's going to get his ass kicked for 90% of the match. Rhino's going to make his triumphant return, his triumphant babyface, and they're going to get the win. This is the cookie-cutter feel-good thing that I absolutely do not mind being a cookie-cutter feel-good thing. I don't have much to say about it because I can already see the match layout in my head, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just, if they do anything else, I don't think the story makes any sense. I do love Eric Young, the Psychopath, because I think at this point, if they lose on the grandest stage that Impact has, then you have him taking it out on his teammates, and then eventually they tell him to go fuck himself, and then he becomes the lone psychopath, and you could do a whole lot with that. The Knockouts Tag Team Championship is Decay, who again, I love. Rosemary and Havoc, great. Versus the debuting, I'm not going to do an Australian accent because I would be terrible, plus I don't want to wake people up. They're taking on the Inspiration, which is Cassie Lee and Jessie McKay, a.k.a. Peyton Royce and Billy Kay, a.k.a. the Iconics. I love this match. I don't want to predict a winner for this because Decay is awesome. Decay is a lot of fun. Decay is everything that you guys know that I love. It's silly, it's goth, it's spooky, it's Elseworlds stuff. it's horror movie come to life stuff. It's all the creepy, cringy, corny, crass, horror, lame stuff that I love. I would love to see them hold those belts forever. But the Inspiration, or the Iconics, I'm probably going to end up calling them sooner or later. I love them in WWE. They were really, really good. They were a tag team in a company that at the time did not yet have a tag team championship, so they always sort of had that about them as, what do we do here? What are we trying to do here? We can win tag team matches, but what does that get us, etc. They were without a cause, and then they separated them, and Peyton Royce kind of did nothing, and Billy Kay went on to SmackDown to try and be everybody's manager, and they still did pretty good shit. Like, their comic shtick and the kooky best friends / mean girls thing that they had going on was really, really good. WWE did not know what to do with it at all. If they show up on this show tonight and make their impact, pun intended, in Impact, on Impact's biggest show, by picking up those tag team titles, I wouldn't mind that at all. I would love for this match for these two teams to go at it more than once. I absolutely do not want this match to be a one and done, because there's such a contrast, because they're not Barbie dolls per se, but they are the pretty girls. They're the popular girls. Like I say, I use the mean girls comparison quite a lot, but even if they're baby faces, they're the pretty, they're the cover of the magazine girls. And the chicks from Decay, I mean, I'd give them a go, but that's not what they're going for with their gimmick. I'm okay with the Inspiration winning. I would love it if Decay wins and this becomes like a several match feud. What I want out of this match is more matches. That's what I'll say about that one. Tournament 3-way final for the vacant X Division Championship. Why is the X Division Championship vacant? We'll get to that shortly. I mean, Trey Miguel is the only one I care about in this match. Trey Miguel is really good. Trey Miguel is, even though he's used really well on Impact, I still think he's underutilized. He's put in a great B spot when I think he could be put in a good A spot. Does that make sense? He's taking on Steve Maclin and El Phantasmo. El Phantasmo, I mean, you throw a luchador into a X Division situation, and it's a winning combination, but it's not one that I personally care about. And Steve Maclin, I mean, Steve Cutler from WWE, they are trying to make him a really, really intimidating force on this show. I'm not gonna lie, the guy's a great wrestler as well. He goes in there, he does his stuff, he looks impactful, he looks intimidating for how much intimidating is worth. When he puts somebody down, it looks like they've been put down. He goes in the ring and he understands the assignment, as they say. It doesn't hit for me. I hope it does. I hope whatever is missing comes back around, and this time in a couple of months I'm sitting here saying, hey, I really hope Steve Maclin wins that match that he's in. Trey Miguel, not only do I find him really, really entertaining on Impact, he was the inaugural Destiny Next Generation champion, so check it off your Spaz Phoenix bucket list. I am incredibly biased, and that's not the only time we're going to talk about that this evening. Trey Miguel taking on the X Division taking on the X Division Championship on his shoulders once again. Really, really good. And it's also a really good side-by-side thing, because him and the Rascals, for him to hold up that belt in Impact simultaneously while his buddies are holding up the tag team belts in NXT is a nice little bit of symmetry. Call me mushy, call me like the guy that's looking for the feel-good moment, but that's a feel-good moment. Show me a picture of the three of those guys, and then separate it out into three different pictures, and show me those three guys holding up their three belts. That's a good thing. The one that's most difficult to call right now, because there's 15 competitors to be announced, it's the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match. And I've seen them do this before. I don't mind it as a trope. It's something that I think is being overused. And I don't mean overused in Impact. I think it's being overused across the board. It's being overused in AEW. It's way overused in WWE. I think they overused it in NXT as well, even though the last person to call their shot in NXT was Carmelo Hayes picking up the North American Championship, which was awesome. Halloween Havoc's coming up next week. We're going to talk about that at a later time. But Winner receives a trophy and a contract that they can invoke at any time within 1 year for a championship match of their choosing. So not only is it a call your shot, it's a championship of your choice, and it's good for a year. So it's Royal Rumble meets Breakout Tournament meets Money in the Bank, which is fine. What do you got in there? You got Rich Swann, you got Brian Myers, you got Moose, you got W. Morrissey, you got Chris Sabin, and you got 15 other competitors to be announced. I know he's injured, and I know he's not going to be back for a while, but I would really love Sami Callihan to come back in this. I know it's not going to happen. Of the few competitors that we have here right now, Chris Sabin, man. Have Chris Sabin win it and go back to Josh Alexander, and or if Josh Alexander wins, or Christian, if Christian wins, we'll talk about that in a second. But if Josh Alexander wins the title, I'm sort of jumping around here a little bit. If Josh Alexander wins that title, Chris Sabin could go to him and be like, look, when you held the X Division title, you wanted to test yourself against me. I gave you the words of motivation that it took to cash in option C and go for that title. Now that you've got a bigger title, why don't you test that title against me again? Now, that's a really roundabout, respectful way to call somebody out, but I'm not going to lie, guys. Point blankly, I'd love to see another round of Chris Sabin versus Josh Alexander. Yes, I'm biased. We'll get there. I don't know. I really don't know, because by the time you guys listen to this it's probably going up Thursday morning or Friday morning, you guys will probably know the rest of the competitors in this gauntlet, and there's probably somebody that I'm forgetting about. Yes, we've got the rumors of Braun Strowman. Yes, we've got the rumors of Buddy Murphy showing up in Impact for one night before he goes over to New Japan. Yes, we've got the overhanging rumors of Bray Wyatt, and he might have been able to get out of his contract early, and nobody really knows. But I'm looking at Wikipedia, the website that never lies, and right now it's only got 5 competitors listed. And of those 5 competitors, I'm going to go with Chris Sabin, which is a really shitty answer because I'm answering about a quarter of the match possibilities and potentials, but it is what it is, and my schedule is what it is. Deonna Purrazzo versus Mickie James for the Impact Knockouts Championship. I should be way more excited for this than I am, because Deonna Purrazzo is a fucking great champion, and Mickie James is a great wrestler. Here is the problem. I can't stand Mickie James anymore. I really can't. She's got her hands in a lot of pies. She's very successful. She basically left WWE, and everything she's done since she left WWE is flipping WWE the bird. Oh, I need to go do this for women over here because WWE doesn't do anything for women, and I have to go do that over there because WWE doesn't do anything for women, and I'm going to pretend that I headed up the first ever women's pay-per-view, even though, Evolution was a thing, and I don't know. And then she went on and she was obnoxious about her participation in Knockouts Knockdown. And the problem is, you can't knock Knockouts Knockdown, no pun intended, because a great majority of that show is dedicated to the memory of Daphne. So out of respect, I'm not going to say anything about that particular show. But between that and hey, look, NWA let me run a show, they let me put my name on it, I went to my dad's Take My Kid to Work day and let me put my own name tag on his desk. It's so dripping obnoxious that I cannot enjoy this as much as I would like to, which is really shit, because if you remember, thought I was wearing my TakeOver shirt. I'm not. TakeOver Toronto? No, it wasn't TakeOver Toronto. It was TakeOver something else. When they were looking for an opponent, it was TakeOver Toronto, because I was there and it is on one of my t-shirts. When they were looking for an opponent for Asuka in NXT, they brought in Mickie James, and I popped huge for that, because you hated it back in the day when she was let go, one of the first times that she was let go from WWE, and the big bad rumor at the time, which we can't really even specify anymore, was that Vince McMahon released her because she was too fat. Now, I don't know if that's true. I'm not even going to propagate that is true, but that's the rumor that went around, and if it's on the internet, it must be true. I popped huge when they brought in Mickie James. At the time, we thought it was going to be a one-night thing, and then she showed up on SmackDown and got more obnoxious and got let go again, and now she's on a bender trying to fuck with WWE. I popped huge for the thought that she was going to be on NXT, on this show that I love, that's doing things a little bit differently, that is doing cool things with their women, and she's going to come in and add an amazing element to that. Now, fast forward, and I'm back into Impact, and Impact is doing a bunch of cool, interesting, little different things that nobody else is doing, and they're treating their women's division great, and Mickie James is going to come and participate in that. It's her own fault that I do not feel the same way that I did before TakeOver Toronto. I'm sorry, I do not apologize for that. And in addition, her over here being that obnoxious, going up against Deonna Purrazzo, who is such a fucking fantastic women's champion. Deonna Purrazzo needs to smoke her. Deonna Purrazzo needs to absolutely smoke her. I mean, I know Matthew Raywald is probably going to be in her corner because they've been paired up ever since the Homecoming King and Queen shtick. But here's the thing. Here's what I'm worried about. You guys heard me talk about this in AEW in reference to the Bucks. When they were first developing, when they were first establishing the first tag team champions in AEW. And yes, AEW kicks ass at tag team wrestling. Nobody's going to deny that. The Bucks are great. I'm coming around on the Bucks now. The first round match of that tournament was them versus Private Party, back when I gave a shit about Private Party. And they put over Private Party. That should have been cool for Private Party. That should have been their big rocket to the moon. I've just sort of started to get to know these guys, but they're a lot of fun. Let's see what they do. Problem is, that wasn't the case. All the rhetoric coming out of that show, out of that match was, oh, look how nice the Bucks are. Look at this favor that they did for Private Party. Look how good they are for putting these other young guys over and whatever. So I'm concerned that Deonna Purrazzo, who's been the great Knockouts champion that she's been for as long as she's carried that belt now, and she carries herself like a champion. She is, for better and for worse, she is the Charlotte Flair of that division. I'm good. I know I'm this good. I'm going to come out and tell you that I'm this good so that all the focus will be on my opponent, so that everybody that steps in the ring with me will get the shine of being in the ring with me. She is that good, in my opinion. She's going to smoke Mickie James, and she should. My worry is coming out of that match that the narrative is going to be, oh, here's Mickie James, newborn super feminist weirdo, and look at all the things that she did to put over Deonna Purrazzo. She made Deonna Purrazzo a great champion. Newsflash, Deonna Purrazzo is also a great champion already. Didn't need Mickie James to make her a great champion. I'm just putting that one out there. And am I ranting on this one? Yes, I absolutely am. Because Mickie James, in her own right, in her own time, was a great, fantastic, phenomenal wrestler as well. This should be one of the matches that I am most excited about on the night. But on the night, this is probably the only entrance. This is the only ring entrance music that's going to hit over the speakers of my television. It's going to go hardcore country, and I'm going to be like, Jesus fuck, get her off my screen. And that is such a turnaround that I can completely put on the shoulders of Mickie James. And I hope Deonna Purrazzo comes out of this without a scratch and goes on to have something bigger, better, less agenda-driven, etc., etc., etc. Deonna Purrazzo is fucking fantastic. If you're not watching, I mean, first of all, if you're not watching Impact, you're probably listening to this podcast. But if you're, for some reason, listening to me ramble about Bound for Glory and you're not watching Impact, go watch anything Deonna Purrazzo has done recently. It's just fucking good. She owns the ring. She has that, I talk about that intangible presence. Once she steps in that ring, it's her ring. And I just hope that a veteran, in tight air quotes, like Mickie James realizes that. I'm not sure about that one. And the main events, the all-Canadian spectacular, the current reigning, defending AEW superstar, but Impact Wrestling World Champion, Captain Charisma, Christian Cage, whatever else you want to say him, the guy with the peeps, taking on current reigning Destiny World Champion. Check it off your Spaz Phoenix bucket list. Most recent former X Division champion also, and we've already talked about that. The Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander. This match is fucking phenomenal. When we watched Victory Road, when Christian defended against, who was it? Ace Austin, and Alexander came out after the fact and said, Bound for Glory, option C. I legit popped in my chair. I sit here, we're in my room, We're in my room. Everybody knows this. Oh, right over there is my TV. I sat in this chair and I popped because I'm like, Bound for Glory's good already. Before anything else. Before Perazo and James. Before the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. Before the tournament for the X Division Championship. Before the Inspiration were announced. Before that became the Women's Tag Team title match. Before Heath Slater came back. Before the Good Brothers were deciding who they wanted to defend their titles about and bounce between Impact and AEW. Before any of that, we knew that the main event was going to be Christian Cage versus Josh Alexander, and I'm like, the pay-per-view's already sold. If you are paying attention to what's going on in Impact Wrestling, if you are paying attention to how fucking awesome Josh Alexander is, and yes, I'm biased because he's our champion as well, you know this match is going to be great. And the homecoming element that AEW allows Christian to have here in Impact at the moment, taking that belt off Kenny Omega. Let's not forget the 7-star match machine, whatever, on the what was it, the debut of Rampage. This match is going to be fucking fantastic. Josh Alexander has everything to gain from being in this match, whether he wins it or not. Christian Cage has everything to bring to the table to make sure that this match is great. I think that this is a nice, neat way to put a bow on AEW holding on to Impact's championship, if I'm completely honest with you. Because the whole idea being that Kenny Omega was this invading force from another brand that came over and stole the title. Somebody over in Kenny's brand saw that was bad, saved the title, put it in the hands of somebody good, somebody who has a respect for Impact Wrestling because they used to be in Impact Wrestling, is going to carry that title respectfully and hand it back off to Impact so that it can continue its legacy forward. That's the story that's happening here. It's just good. It's just a feel-good thing. And yeah, they had a sit-down interview that I saw, I think it was last week, where it's two baby faces, they're across the ring from each other, and they're pleasant, and they're pleasant, and they're pleasant, but they're a little bit snippy, and they're pleasant, then they're a little bit snippy, and then somebody says something a little bit serious, somebody says something a little bit serious, somebody takes a shot, somebody takes a shot. They have to do that gradual build thing when it's two baby faces. So if they both come in here and they're dicks a little bit just to give the match some story, that's fine. But holy shit, I'm sorry, I'm biased. I'm from Canada. These guys are from Canada. Canada breeds great wrestlers. It's just a fact. Josh Alexander is going to go back to being the champ, carrying the title not only for Impact but for Destiny, and that's going to be a great way to just kick off or end off the show. I'll tell you, multiple times, I've seen Josh Alexander at a Destiny show, and by the end of the match, nobody's in their seats, everybody's around the ring, everybody's stomping the sides of the ring. I've shown you guys videos before. I'll try to find another one to put up on YouTube at some point. Everybody is leaning on the apron. Everybody has their hands and their fists pounding on the edge of the ring skirt itself by the time this guy's finished a match. And when he picked up the Destiny title for the first time, let me note as well, picked up the Destiny World title from Pete Dunne in a match that looked like they were going to kill each other. After Pete Dunne had defended it against Austin Aries, against Rich Swann, against John Morrison, against, I believe, Matt Sydal. I could be wrong. Against James Ellsworth, which was just fucking hilarious. The title finally got passed from Dunne to Alexander, and by the time the 1, 2, 3 went down for him picking up that championship, you couldn't. It's a very, very small building, the Don Koloff Arena. You couldn't hear the ring announcer. You couldn't hear his music because the few of us that were there made that much noise. And from what I can tell, it's a televised show, so they can't be quite that out of control. I really do hope that the live Impact crowd has adopted Josh Alexander as much as the Don Koloff Arena crowd has, because that's the perfect way to end the pay-per-view. And as I say, if things go the way I think they're going to go, if Chris Sabin wins the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, one more time, Josh Alexander versus Chris Sabin, but now for the Impact World title, is a great pathway to go on going forward. There's a lot of cool stuff happening here. As I say, the X Division title is a little bit more predictable than I'd like it to be. We've got the introduction of basically it's the Internet Championship, let's be real. We've got the Inspiration making their debut, taking on Havoc and Rosemary. My favorite faction in this brand has 2 different matches. If Crazy Steve and Havoc and Rosemary all walk out with titles, that's gonna feel good too. If you put the other title on Trey Miguel, and he can look over to his buddies in NXT, and they're all holding up belts. It's sometimes it's wrestling, but sometimes it's wrestle friends. If we can fill it with feel good. I just did the Crown Jewel preview for you guys last night, and I was trying to pull some feel good moments out of that. This show, I'm not going to say it's going to be the show of the year or anything like that. I'm not going to come at you guys with that much hyperbole, but this show has the potential for at least 3 or 4 really solid feel-good moments. And if you consider that after Crown Jewel and after this, I've still got Halloween Havoc to look forward to, and Raising Hell at Destiny, check it off your Spaz Phoenix bucket list one more time. It is, don't let anybody fool you, don't let anybody downtrod you. It is, in fact, a hashtag good time to be a pro wrestling fan. Anyways, I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, tag it out. Bye, guys.